Welcome back to Assembly Hall. Again, it's Inside Indiana Overtime with Robby Howard, currently of the Indiana Daily Student, but in a month that's going to change as he's going to join us here at Inside Indiana as the new, what I used to be, I guess. He's going to be our
contributing writer,
yes,
right?
contributing writer for the site, for the magazine, and you should all follow him at Robby Howard 1, I believe.
Yes.
And that's Robby with a Y, Robby. Great Twitter follow, great writer, great dude. Robby, I mean, well, okay, that's debatable, I guess. Anything you want to say to our subscribers about the new gig?
I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are excited. Doing some finishing up at the IDS, but starting with Inside Indiana, the December 14th game against Notre Dame at Bankers Life. That's a big game, so it's kind of a perfect time to transition.
Yeah.
Perfect. It should be fun. It should be a fun ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, me too.
Yeah.
And speaking of a fun ride, if you're an IU fan, tonight's game was pretty fun to watch, especially in the first half when IU they come out. I think they began the game on a 28-7 run against Samford, and really put them in the rearview mirror quickly. Unlike what we saw the other night against LIU-Brooklyn, where IU just never really had a grasp on that game, especially in the first half. And something that really stood out tonight, obviously, was shot selection for IU. They, in the first half against LIU-Brooklyn, they took 16 threes and made one of them. Tonight in the first half, they took half as many threes and made twice as many. They were 2 for 8 in the first half. Obviously, the standout performance tonight was Yogi Ferrell. He set a career high in points, field goals, 3-point field goals. What did you see from Ferrell tonight that maybe was a little bit different from what we've seen in the first few games?
Well, I thought it was interesting watching it. Yogi, it was sort of a tale of two halves for him. In the first half, he has 5 assists. He really played the role of distributor, which is sort of the role we saw him play more last year. And, he wasn't the go-to guy. He was dishing the ball off to Noah Vonleh. He talked about how IU really wanted to come in tonight and approach the game from an inside-out perspective, and Vonleh had all 8 of his first half points within the first 3 minutes and 55 seconds of the game. And so they really went inside to him early and quickly. And then the second half, we saw Yogi, the number 1 scorer on the team. He scores 17 in the second half, including 4 3-point field goals, an area that we saw he's much improved in. Finishes 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. And so we sort of saw the two sides of Yogi Ferrell tonight, the distributor and also the scorer.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Noah Vonleh. Ferrell gave a lot of credit to Vonleh, not for coming up and setting ball screens where it kind of gave Ferrell an option where if a guy went under the screen, he pulled up and took a shot. If he went over the screen or something like that, he drove, and a lot of times would dish to Vonleh. And again, Vonleh is 3 for 3 in his short IU career for double doubles. He had I think it was 13 and 10 tonight.
Yep.
And again, it was a. Well, you said that a lot of his scoring was all of his scoring, I guess, in the first half was in the first few minutes. Yeah. But it seemed like he, again, was very consistent half to half. I think he had 5 rebounds in the first half, 5 in the second. And he's just one of those guys. Even against LIU-Brooklyn, he was really the only effective offensive player, I thought, in the first half in that game. And he's just, it's impressive to see what a consistent player he is already. And really, and from this whole freshman class, we've seen just an incredible amount of production.
Oh, yeah. I think what impresses me most about Vonleh is he can really take games over. He might not score consistently throughout the entire game, but there's stretches, like 4-minute stretches, where he just absolutely takes the game over, and he gets all the rebounds, he gets a block or two. Tonight, he also had a steal in that opening few minutes. And, and he's also, they're throwing the ball into him down low, and he's just unstoppable. There were a couple of moves that I saw him make tonight that was just like, there's no defense for that. You're not going to be able to stop that. And granted, it was Samford, and their biggest player was only 6'8", and he's, 6'10", 6'11".
Yeah.
And so, he had a matchup advantage, but he exploited it. And that's something that we saw not really happening against LIU-Brooklyn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think early on, he touched the ball basically every possession, which a lot of times we saw that. And not to make a comparison here, but a lot of times last year we saw Cody Zeller when IU would make a point to work the ball into him and play, like you said, inside out. The offense just opened up so much for everybody else. And again, we've seen that with Vonleh here in the early running. But we've also seen some incredibly athletic young guys make impacts. Troy Williams was, I think, a rebound short or a point short of a double-double. 2 rebounds short of a double-double, and had some really, every game there are a couple moments where you just think, my God, that guy can jump high. I find myself repeating myself either on Twitter or on our thread or just talking with people about just like, my goodness, I can't believe he is moving like that and jumping like that. There was a tip dunk that he had that I thought was going to be the play of the game until the last 5 minutes. And we saw Hunter Perea. I just call him Perea.
Let's just go with HMP.
HMP is also easier. It's quick. It's only 3 characters for Twitter and everything.
It's perfect.
It's much better. So HMP. We're talking a lot about Yogi Ferrell's career night. Perea also had a career high 8 points, and he got his career high on his last dunk of the game, and he did it in style. It was Austin Etherington drives down the baseline, misses a layup that kind of bounces to Perea's right, and he reaches out with one hand and just absolutely
and it was
down.
Far out. That was the difference.
Almost full extension.
Yeah, Troy Williams' tip dunk, it was pretty much just like straight up and straight down.
Yeah.
Hunter's was like full extension.
Yes.
It was really impressive.
Yeah, and even we were sitting on the other end of the court, and still, you could almost feel it from over. All 3 of his dunks tonight were powerful.
That's just how he dunks.
Yeah,
he's a power dunker.
Yeah.
He's definitely not looking for the flashy stuff. He's definitely a power dunker.
Yes, and it's amazing that these baskets are still standing after a couple of those.
Going for the Shaq performance.
Yes. We might see something like that where the rim literally shakes. But yeah, he had a career high with 8 points. He's played really, really well early on, and I think a lot of the attention has gone toward Vonleh or maybe toward Ferrell in a couple of his high scoring performances. But Mosquera Perea, apparently. Yogi Ferrell said after the game that Crean thinks that Perea is one of the most improved or the most improved player he's ever coached. Robby, obviously we've watched every game basically of Perea, of his IU career. What do you see differently from him this year?
Well, I think Crean hit it perfectly tonight when he said his basketball IQ basically is just very improved, and I think the scariest thing about him is that Crean said he's not even at 100% yet.
Yeah.
He's still walking in a boot around campus. Anytime he's not on the basketball court, he's in a walking boot. So he's not at 100% yet. So it's like, what is he going to be like when that foot's fully healthy? And I think he's just learning so much day to day, and we've seen that jump from last year to this year, that he understands the game of basketball a lot better now, and I think that makes a world of difference when you understand, positioning and where you're supposed to be and screening and, how to get in place for rebounds. I think that has just made a world of difference for him in his sophomore season.
Absolutely. Last year there were a lot of times where he just kind of looked in the way last year, basically. Yeah, he just didn't know where he was supposed to be going on defensive rotations and things like that.
And catching the ball.
And his hands are much better this year. That's a big thing. And I think last year, I think he was, maybe more than people realize, I think he was really, really hurt by missing those first 8 games. Where both he and Peter Jerkin, even though Jerkin really wasn't healthy during that time anyway. But having these the exhibition games and then a team like Chicago State or a team like Samford, where you can try a few things out, see if they work in games before you go up against, even like a non-conference team like Notre Dame or like Butler last year. Evansville, yeah. Last year, I think Perea's first game was against Butler, and he played a little bit, but he was just kind of, he was just behind, and he wasn't ready for that kind of competition yet. This year, he's able to kind of maneuver and kind of trying to figure himself out. So I think we're going to see him play an enormous role this year. I don't know if it's going to result in him maybe, peeking into that starting lineup from time to time. It seems like that has worked pretty well for the lineup they used in the first 3 games has worked pretty well. So I don't think they'll tinker with that. But we're going to see, I think, a lot from Perea this year that obviously we haven't seen yet. But we're going to see them again just in 2 days. It's been a
quick turnaround for us too.
Yes, it's been a ridiculous start to the season. IU's back here Sunday night at 5 against Stony Brook, which is, again, like LIU-Brooklyn, it's a lower-level team, but it's a good lower-level team that's projected to win its conference and possibly and go to the NCAA tournament, something like that. So it'll be another good test for IU. We'll see if this kind of offensive efficiency continues. I mean, they shot like 56% from the floor tonight, which was night and day from
it's all about shot
selection.
It is, like you said.
It is. They shot 21% better tonight than they did the other night against LIU-Brooklyn, which is obviously an enormous difference. But we'll see if that continues Sunday. We'll both be here, and so will Ken and Ed and the rest of the Inside Indiana crew. So stick with us. We've also got a football game to cover tomorrow. IU takes on Wisconsin, so just tons and tons of IU sports this weekend. So keep coming to Inside Indiana, keep watching our videos, reading our stuff. For Robby Howard of the IDS, I'm Alex McCarthy with Inside Indiana, and you've been watching Inside Indiana Overtime.